Hi, I'm Jimi Connal. I'm from St Albans Heights Primary School. I'm a 3-4 teacher, and I've used games in the classroom uh, on quite a few occasions, and with using them for different things in different ways, um, whether it be to assist with writing or look at a concept in maths or to teach coding as well. I don't normally describe myself as a gamer, but I do play video games. Particularly lately with my daughter, I play video games quite a lot with her. Animal Crossing and Pokemon and Mario Kart have been pretty frequent, and of course, I use them in the classroom occasionally as well. It's a good thing to do to relax. I think it's a good thing to do with other people, particularly while we're online. I think not seeing people as often. We play with my brother-in-law a fair bit, so we get him in like a Zoom call and we play games together. So that's a good way to connect with people as well. And yeah, it's just a nice thing to do to relax for enjoyment. As a parent, I would have no problems with my daughter playing video games in the classroom. I think there's lots of problem-solving opportunities. Um, Obviously, there's things that you can use video games for, things like simulation and things you can't always bring into the classroom that you can explore through games. And it's highly engaging as well. So I'd have no problem as a parent letting my daughter play video games. We started using Minecraft Education for a few maths activities. It was really good for looking at shape and teaching scale as well, because one block could equal 1 meter and doing things like that. And as well, we looked at some science concepts. I think with this, you can do circuits. Some of the stones can be circuits in Minecraft as well. We've used Minecraft for quite a few things actually, as well as like some more like project builder, sustainable building and things like that. We did a game-based learning program with Acme. It was called Bird Monkey. We created a game in Scratch. It went through some of obviously the coding concepts, but as well as some of the concepts of the game as well, in terms of how the levels are created and they get more difficult, adding different elements as the game goes on. And while also, as I said before, introducing some of the different block coding concepts. Yeah, the 5/6s followed the self-guided course through Acme to create the Bird Monkey game in Scratch. They really enjoyed it. It was a collaborative task. They created the music, created the storyline. They created levels that got incrementally more difficult, and yeah, did a lot of problem solving and debugging using block coding along the way. So that was a really valuable course for our students. They found it really engaging because there was a bit of like sort of sit down in front of the teacher teaching for some of the, I guess, some of the more of the coding concepts, like teaching loops and things like that. But mostly it was very directed. There was some of the videos that were created by Acme that had sort of more in-depth tutorials of what they needed to do, and they could work in a group. So there was a lot of, I guess, problem-solving opportunities and debugging opportunities. But yeah, mostly it was pretty self-directed, and the kids enjoyed that. And obviously, it was something different in the classroom at the time, so they really were engaged. I think video games are a useful learning tool. I think looking at it in terms of an art form, I think a lot of students might think of an artist as someone who paints or does pictures, but looking at game concepts like the storytelling and the design aspect as well, I think is pretty important, seeing it like that. And what else? Yeah, I guess just you can there's games like Minecraft, for example, that there's really kind of endless possibilities of things that you can do with it. And again, there's a whole world of resources that have been created around a lot of things like Scratch and Minecraft that other people have created that can be time saving for us as well. There's like sustainability worlds and all sorts of different things like that. I think a learning resource or a collection of resources for teachers would be really valuable, because there are like so many different games and they cover a huge gamut of, I guess, different areas. They can be used in so many different ways. I think just having some ideas as a starting point is really valuable, and knowing which games to use and what they can be used for, particularly around the literacy side with like storytelling and game design and narrative and all that sort of thing that falls into video games. I think maybe a lot of teachers wouldn't think of games as a prompt in that way. So yeah, I think that would make it valuable. Yeah, I think that a lot of parents do see the value in using video games as a learning tool. I mean, I'm sure by now a lot of parents know that students love playing video games, and I think that they probably, if they can use that as a learning tool, and I think they can see the value in that. Yeah, so I think a lot of students could or would like to envision themselves in a career in the video game industry. There is, I think they've got a lot of learning to do in that area. A lot of them see themselves as like streamers and things like that. I think that's why the Scratch course was really good when we created Bird Monkey, because we did talk about the different roles. Like there would be someone whose job it was to make the music for a game, and someone wrote the storyline for a game, and someone designed the characters, and they sort of understood all those different roles a little bit more. So I guess it did open their eyes up to the different roles that would be involved in making a video game. Use a resource that's already been built, which is a good one. Be confident to just give it a go. I think the students definitely are pretty used to digital or online environments. They're pretty willing to have a go and not worried about making mistakes, or if something doesn't work properly the first time, they're pretty happy to deal with that. Yeah, and I guess just explore what's out there. There's lots out there that you can use. So I guess just that using the Acme courses and having some PL from Acme has actually really helped us implement some good projects and some good sequences of learning. I think, yeah, students can learn the value of persistence and failure through video games, particularly with, yeah, and anything at school. We try and make it like it's got a learning aspect as well. So it's not going to be immediately easy or obvious, or it might be a design solution or a coding problem. Like it's not going to work, or it's not always going to work the first time. So yeah, there's definitely an element of, I guess, trial and error or problem solving to using games in the classroom. So next term, we're looking at exploring like the concept of force, the physical science. So we are hoping to maybe incorporate the contraption maker game and use some of the lesson plans there to hopefully engage the students and get them thinking about some Rube Goldberg machines and things like that.
Hi, my name is Noly Noble. I'm a STEM teacher at St Albans Heights Primary School, and I absolutely love the idea of using games inside a classroom, particularly for their narrative qualities, and to use games in a novel and exciting way. Yes, in fact, I play games all the time, if not every day of the week. I've played games over the course of my lifetime. And to this day, I play games quite competitively. In fact, I've entered a few tournaments playing particular fighting games. So games as a whole has been instrumental to who I am today. So the game that I'm currently playing right now is a game called Dota 2. And it's a strategy-based game where 10 people from across the world are battling to try and take over and destroy the other person's base. But other times of the week, I'm playing fighting games, such as Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat 11, and Dragon Ball Fighter Z. So they're all fighting games that I grew up playing. And then as I became older, I would say that the content and the story aspect of video games started to enthrall me a lot more. So looking at Japanese RPG games such as the Final Fantasy series, where the story and quests are very in-depth, where they develop content and I guess you could even say the storyline for the characters. If you have agency, if you have the ability to control what's going on, you're immersed. You have that connection that I think is far beyond that of a textbook or a book, in the sense that not only are you understanding what is happening, but you are also literally experiencing it. You have the agency to decide what movements, what abilities, or what direction you want to go as a character. It also allows for you to investigate the way you want to. If you're taking a look at a particular narrative or a book, for example, you're forced to view something from a particular perspective. You can't look away from that perspective. Whereas in a video game, you have that much agency that you can look at things from different perspectives, different lenses. Your understanding and ability to experience things, well, there's such a multitude that you can create rich experiences of your own. I do think it has a bad reputation, yes, but our current situation has pushed for a paradigm shift in education. And I think now that conversation is being had with everyone. People are now looking at different avenues of engaging students. And I think video games is a great way to do that. Over the course of online teaching, I've noticed that students are now looking at video games for more engagement. And because of our current restrictions, it is a great way for us to capture students' attention while utilizing technology that they already know. ACME came to St. Albans Heights Primary School and they introduced a really new novel idea of teaching, and it was through the form of a video game. We were surprised when we walked into the room. There was, on our large TV, we had a computer connected to the TV. Kate was sitting down and she opened up a video game called Untitled Goose. And for one, most of us were very confused, but then they started unpacking the idea of using video games as a way to direct students into creating some content and for them to extend their participation, in particular in reading and writing, for example. And I was quite bewildered because I know for myself for many years, I know how rich video games are, but not in an educational context. So when this conversation was first aired at our school, I brightened up a little bit. I didn't realize, yes, you can use video games. That makes perfect sense. There are already established rich worlds that students can drop themselves into. It wasn't until we were told to hop onto the computer and to control this random goose. And through the interaction of all the teachers, we not only had a lot of fun, we also realized upon thinking back at it, the fact that we were able to create an experience that not only teachers could reflect on and think about, we also realized that that experience that we conjured up together could also create a springboard for students to write about, or for students to take that information and then to use it as a seed to create a written piece. It may be something through the lens of the main character, or it may be even the gate that was being pried open by the goose itself. And we realized how rich the ability for us to take content from that experience and to turn into an academic experience very viable in our classroom, particularly with students who are disengaged and who are more often than not unable to participate in traditional methods of testing and academics at a primary school level. I had thought of a way to deliver this experience to all the students and for the teachers to deliver it to the students, but I needed to think of a way to keep it portable, accessible, and to ensure that everyone could access it without any difficulty. So my idea was to buy a Mac Mini, a mouse and a keyboard inside a big case. So when teachers wanted to give that experience to students, they could simply grab that briefcase, plug it into the TV, and the gaming experience is immediate. It only takes maybe a mere 1 minute of setup at most. And in my mind, I thought it would be a great way for not only myself, but for all teachers at our school to tap into this novel idea to really look at video games for the first time as a springboard to academic success. And I thought it was, and I think to this day, I think it's a great purchase. When students are playing video games, they're drawing on skills, I think, that heavily rely on communication and creativity. That's another thing I think also that is being utilized by students. A skill that is very important is the idea of role playing and creating that team atmosphere. So I know for some particular games, students are relying on their strengths and acknowledging their weaknesses and having other people work on those weaknesses to develop an outcome, for example. So I would say creativity, sociability, and maybe teamwork are the three key skills that I think are being heavily focused in the games that students are playing at the moment. Yes, there are some students right now who are already expressing their love of video games, so much so that they're creating mini sprites or like mini video game characters that they haven't actualized like using digital resources, but they've already thought of they've already thought of the story, the settings for these characters. They've drawn them. They've thought of what weapons that they're going to use. I do think that a lot of the kids at St. Albans Heights Primary School are looking at video games as an avenue for the future. I do think it's very viable, and I think it's not a matter of who's going to do it, but I think it's a matter of when. Like it is going to happen. It's just a matter of preparing them and creating the pathways for the students to walk on.